Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today we're coming from Hammerlocke City where the Draconids are trying to move their way into a leader's 8th position, but as we're looking at this tale of the tape we can see that they have to try and take down the Montenevera Silphs who have only lost one game this season. They've only just dropped down to 2nd place because it happened in the midst of this round, so with a win the ghost types can move themselves back to the top of the leaderboard. And with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think's going to win this matchup. Will it be the dragon types? Will it be the ghost types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it is going to be Flapple alongside Dipplin as it starts out with the Hurricane, but that is going to be avoided by Poltergeist, who is joined by Bayonet, and Poltergeist going with the Tail Glow in the early stages of this match, boosting that 134 special attack as Bayonet follows it up with the Axe Kick, landing that onto Flapple and leaving it with that confusion as well. It will need to shake that off, but first Dipplin is going with the Acid Armor, so it here is going to be boosting that physical defense a great deal. That is base 110, but here is Flapple needing to shake off this confusion, and it is successful, going with the Imprison. It is putting the seal over the ghost types. They are left here, they're unable to go for anything at the moment, and they will be left to struggle. But first Dipplin is going to go with the tea time. Everybody on the field is going to chow down on their leopard berries, and if you like the action of the PokeType League, please leave a like, share, subscribe, help this series grow for many seasons to come as these teams are chowing down on their leopard berries. The Draconids are trying to get their first win over the Silphs, and as they finish up this quick snack we get back into the action as once again Flapple is trying to shake off this confusion. It is at risk of doing damage to itself, but it shakes it off, going for the Attract, but that is not going to work there on Bayonet. But also what is not going to work is Poltergeist going for anything other than the struggle, mistakenly going for Dipplin instead of Flapple. They need to get Flapple off the field to break that imprisonment seal. Bayonet going for Flapple correctly, but it does get that recoil damage, and Dipplin looking to capitalize here, going with the Ivy Cudgel, putting Poltergeist into knockout range, activating that weak armor as well, which lowers its defense, boosting that speed, but this makes it the quickest on the field. It is going to go for that struggle. Flapple is able to hang on though, but Poltergeist is not. It has been taken out due to that recoil damage. Flapple just needs to stay in this match, but it is in a confused state. If it is taken out, that seal is broken and it's unable to shake off the confusion. The imprisonment seal has been ended, but Bayonet is still going to be left to struggle in this turn before it can go on the offensive, so it will get that recoil damage, doing very little to Dipplin there. But we are in a level playing field even after an imprisonment. The overheat from Dipplin is avoided by Bayonet. And it's Tatsugiri coming out for the Draconids. It is Trevenant coming out for the Montenevera Silphs with that Frisk, revealing the Enigma Berry of Tatsugiri, who does go for the Darkest Lariat onto Trevenant. Super effective, getting some great damage there, but Bayonet is going to respond with the Echoed Voice now that that imprisonment seal has been broken. Trevenant with the follow-up, going for the Roar of Time, knowing that Tatsugiri has that Enigma Berry as well, getting that super effective damage. That berry is huge compared to Tatsugiri, who does have its health restored here, and Dipplin is going to respond with the Power Trip. More super effective damage being done, almost takes out Bayonet, who hangs on by a thread. Tatsugiri could finish it off, but instead it is going to go with the Recover. It is able to get itself back to full strength even after taking that super effective damage from Trevenant. The Wild Charge though from Bayonet, fantastic damage onto Tatsugiri, but the recoil will take Bayonet out of this matchup, and the Draconids have taken the lead. But still the Silphs were able to break the imprisonment seal as Trevenant does have to recharge. Dipplin could capitalize, going for the heal bell, but there is no status condition on Tatsugiri as that bell does chime, and this will allow the Silphs to send in their next member, who is revealed to be their Terrestrial Drafty Spidops, who has been having a great season, embracing its ghostly typing here, and it needs to do that here again to try and move the Silphs back on top of the leaderboard. And Tatsugiri, still with that speed control, is immediately going for that not very effective U-turn onto Spidops. It is going to go back to the bench so it can regroup out in its place, though. It is going to be Shelgon. Trevenant immediately with the Drill Peck, getting some good damage there onto Shelgon, but Dipplin does respond for its side by riding that Surf, getting very little damage onto everybody on the field, including its own teammate, who it's not very effective on. Spidops, though, going with the Tickle, trying to lower these physical stats of Shelgon, including that 95 base attack that we have seen it thrive with this season. Shelgon, though, does respond with the Blue Flare, taking Trevenant out of this match with that super effective connection. That's 3 Pokemon down now for the Silphs, as the Quiver Dance from Dipplin is going to boost that special attack and that special defense. More stat boost here for the Grass Dragon type, also boosting its speed, but Spidops with the Gigaton Hammer onto Shogun gets the immediate response elimination to make sure that the Draconids do not extend their lead by too much. Tatsugiri returning to the field, the Silphs sending out Mimikyu, who immediately is going to go with the Toxic Thread. This is going to poison Tatsugiri, and it is also going to slow it down as they're trying to get more speed control for the Silphs. However, Dipplin is still quicker than Spidops, allowing it now to go for the Feather Dance, focusing on to Mimikyu, lowering that physical attack a great deal, and Tatsugiri is going to follow it up with the Spark to break that disguise of Mimikyu, as unfortunately for Spidops, with that base 35 speed, it is still the slowest on the field, but that does not prevent it from going for the Power Trip onto Tatsugiri, which unfortunately doesn't actually do that much, but that poisoning status condition doing that additional passive damage for the Silphs. Mimikyu could capitalize. Instead, it is going with the Calm Mind, taking that deep breath in here. It is boosting that special attack and that 105 special defense, as Dipplin looks to respond with the Dire Claw on to Spidops, who is left with that paralysis status condition. That's going to slow it down even more, and it may make it unable to move, as Tatsugiri with the Draco Meteor is just going to take Spidops out of this match, lowering its own special attack in the process. But the Silphs are down to 2 members. The Draconids still have 4 remaining, and they have never beaten the Montenevera Silphs before, and they need to do that if they want to move up into a Leaders 8 position, as that poisoning puts Tatsugiri into knockout range. The Silphs send out Miss Magius, who immediately is going to go with the Venoshock, super effective there onto Dipplin, who's been in this match since the very start. Mimikyu following up with a super effective Drill Peck as well, but those defensive boosts coming into play for Dipplin allows it to respond with the Fake Tears, lowering that special defense a great deal of Miss Magius. Tatsugiri following up with the Fell Stinger, not very effective though onto Mimikyu, doing very little damage even with that critical hit. And Tatsugiri is finally going to be taken down by that Toxic Thread poisoning it received from Mimikyu. Being sent out in its place, it is Dracloak, immediately taking back the speed control for the Draconids, going for the Rock Tomb onto Miss Magius, lowering its speed in the process. Mimikyu, however, is going to respond with the Incinerate, putting Dipplin into knockout range, burning up the Staff Berry of Dracloak, as well as Dipplin is going to go for the Poison Jab, not very effective onto Miss Magius. It should have gone for Mimikyu, but it does get that crucial poisoning onto Miss Magius here, who is going to respond with the Magic Room, setting that up on the field so that it creates an effect. Everybody's held items lose their effects, even though I believe it is only the Silphs who still have those left. Dracloak is going to go for the Mean Look, but that is not going to work on the Ghost types, and this allows Mimikyu to go with the Hurricane onto Dracloak here, getting in fantastic damage on the Ghost Dragon type, but it is another riding of the Surf from Dipplin that takes out its own teammate, but it also takes out Miss Magius. This is a 2v1 matchup. Mimikyu is by itself. It is Cramorant coming out for the Draconids, their own Terrestrial Drafty, who we have not yet seen terrestrialize this season because its only appearance, it was on the receiving end of an imprisonment seal as well. And it is going to be Mimikyu with the speed control, going with the Giga Impact onto the Dragon Terrestrial Drafty, getting some great damage there, but Cramorant is going to respond with the Dragon Darts. That's not going to work on Mimikyu, who is a part Fairy type, it is immune, However, we do get the dive from Dipplin. It's probably trying to guide Cramorant on what it should be doing in this match, as Mimikyu does have to recharge. This opens the door for Cramorant to go for the Crush Claw, but that's also not going to work on Mimikyu, but the dive does connect. They're getting some good chip damage. However, Mimikyu now is able to respond with the role play, but unfortunately that does fail. Once again, opening the door for Cramorant to do something, anything. It sets up for the Phantom Force and those dragon eyes before it disappears. So, but it's the Ivy Cudgel, another one from Dipplin, who was in from the very start, takes Mimikyu out of this match, and the Draconids of all sides, without their fully evolved Pokemon, can take down the Montenevera Silphs. The Draconids trying to show they are still for real this season, as next round they are going up against the Pony Stars, whereas for the Silphs, next round they have their bye, and after that they're going up against the Pony Stars. But until then, Nidorinas, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.